Let's talk about Raleigh. Okay. So, um, Raleigh was this last weekend, YCS Raleigh. YCS Raleigh, most recent YCS. You all know what a YCS is. I drove up on Thursday night and hung out with Peeps and Danny and Leah Asimov, and we had a great time together. Before I talk at all about Danny, I do want to let you know for 4 days straight he wore Hassan merch. He wore Hassan Piker merch 4 days in a row. So do with that information what you will. So. Friday night, we wake up early and get to the venue, and it's pretty quiet. It is a pretty quiet day. I wish they did what they do in the EU and had events on Friday, but they didn't. We actually, Peeps and I got there really early, and we were like camping out almost, waiting for it to open. And I'm glad to say, the first one in the venue and one of the first to register, and the registration line got really big really quick, but went very quickly as well. It was very well handled by everyone there. We got our shit. We left. Raleigh. Oh, man. Raleigh is such a nice fucking place. I've never... I went there last year for the YCS in Raleigh, and last year I was like, wow, this is such a beautiful little city. It is so nice. Every place we go is so nice. It is temperate. The weather is good. They're in that stage of develop. It's like, so in America, there's like 4 total cities. It's like New York, Philadelphia, Chicago, and then what, like Phoenix, Arizona. We're always trying to find the next New York, right? And Raleigh is one of the cities that could become the next New York. But unlike like Austin or whatever, which is currently just massively overburdened because they don't have a public transit system and their roads are really like small. Raleigh was designed late enough in America's dev cycle that even its like normal streets are like 3 or 4 lanes wide. So like it is built around cars. There's parking everywhere. It's nice. You never feel like you have to like hunt around for parking like you do in other cities. They're in that stage of development where they have all the like hippie places, like places called like coffee shops called like Pale Blue Dot and shit like that. We went to a couple really nice coffee shops. They got food halls everywhere. We went to a couple really beautiful food halls, and the food in Raleigh is so nice. They have almost everything. I really liked, like, they have a lot of really good Asian food. They have obviously incredible barbecue. I know that some individuals went to get food. They would go get hot pot, and that was really nice. It's just, it was so nice. And it's also green. It was also green. There's just a lot of foliage everywhere. It's a very pretty city. It's like, I love living in Maryland, and God willing, I will live here until the day I die. But every time I go to Raleigh, I was like, I could see myself living here forever. This place is nice. It's not so far south that everyone is extremely racist, and it's not so far north that everyone is a fucking bastard. It's enjoyable. I had the exact opposite experience. Well, I'm white, so I might be missing out on some of the racism. But I was really enjoying it, and we went to a nice food hall. We had beautiful lunch. And I also filmed a couple so day one I tried to do a Challenger Cup with Doug from the venue. That was not smart to do. Did not work out for me. I'm like taking maximum amount of time every turn. It was rough. And also, like, my brain was just in the wrong place. Like, Doug had me on stream for the feature round 1, and I won the die roll playing Snake Eyes, and I'm doing like a Celine into Apo line, and I'm like, oh fuck, I'm not playing Celine. Right, this is Master Duel, right? And then the third game, I put up an unbreakable board turn 1 and then maxied my opponent. And my opponent just like did chip damage and then like took a 15-minute turn. But like wasn't slow playing. They were like playing at parity the whole time. I'd just taken a long time because I was playing on fucking convention center Wi-Fi. So I was like, okay, we're not going to stay in for this. But I was doing this all weekend. I was doing I had a couple extra pyramid cloths and of course the little Ycs plushie, which is now available at Ycs.com. And I was hiding them behind stuff, and I was afraid there was going to be like a stampede, but thankfully, once people heard that it was gone, they were pretty normal about it. And then so we had a nice evening. Gage and crew came over, and we jammed some games and watched Mob Psycho 100, and then we left. The next day, I went to the event space, and we I played my first round. I don't remember what it was. Before I played my first round, I got to meet up with Noah Jank. And I was like, oh, you know what would be funny is if I get Noah Jank to sign my bonfires, because he has an ongoing bit where it's like he discovered Bonfire as a tech, and everyone's always like, Bonfire? What does that do for a deck, right? So he signs them. This motherfucker has never signed anything before and did not know how this works. So he signed over the word spell card. So he hands these back, and I go, Noah, what the fuck did you just made these illegal? And he was like, what? I was like, I can't play these anymore. So I went up to the judge and I was like, Judge, please tell me these are still legal for play. And he was like, I'm so sorry. You covered up the word spell card. That's an integral part of the rules text. You can't play with a card that has obscured rules text. And I was like, okay. So I had to go minus 250 on bonfires. It was rough stuff. I do still have the Noah Jank bonfires on me. They are the most expensive bonfires I own. He was very apologetic, but it was very funny. So I play against Snakes round 1, and I just do it. You know, it's nothing interesting. And people, so on Friday it had been kind of quiet, and I was like, maybe this is finally it. The YCS where everyone who wants a picture or something signed with me already has one. Absolutely not. I was more mobbed at this YCS than I've ever been before. And I gotta say, my opinion on it has done a real 180. I used to be like, oh, I wish I had some downtime. Now I'm like, fuck it. You know, I would not be eating if not for the people coming up to me. So I bring it on. I will speak with and hang out with and sign and do whatever you want me to. And one person asked me to circle and sign my favorite thing on the Olive Garden menu, which is, of course, the tour of Italy. Peeps got to sign a box of Triscuits. I won round 2 versus Horus. What? Why did I write that? I didn't play Horus. It was Orchist. And the second or the first game of that round, I had the Zelantis lethal, and I just didn't do it. Like, I just did a different play to play around something. And my opponent goes, you had lethal. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, are you new to this deck? And I was like, no, shut up. Leave me alone. I'm tired. But, you know, I deserved it. I felt like a dumbass. So I went and got food. Round 3, I played against Branded. Really, really enjoyable guy. I really like, there's 2 types of players at YCSs. One are people that are generally affable. I always like trying to shoot the shit with my opponent. And I think a lot of people think it's like some sort of like mind game where I'm trying to bring down their defenses. But like, no, I just like playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And talking to people who play Yu-Gi-Oh! And that guy was like really affable. We had a great time. The other type of person at YCSs, they go like, yeah, no response. Yeah, you're fine. DB Grinder looking ass. If I played against DB Grinder, I would, of course, be talking shit on his cuisine. Unfortunately, I did not get to play against DB Grinder because I'm ass and he's goated. I met this guy who had printed out the cover art for Ram Ram Ranch, and I did sign this shirt. I think it is a work of art. Round 4, I played against a Snake Volcanic player. Every time I play against that deck, I'm like, how the fuck is this not the best deck in the room? But I just lost the die roll. Game 1, I opened Droll, and as they went for the Rimfire stuff, I was like, shit, yeah, I got Droll. Droll you. And he was like, called by, and I was like, damn, I tried. We also did this, and this was another one. We put it in the content creator area because we didn't think people would overhear us there, and they didn't. One guy came up and got it, and then immediately after, someone bolted in. And I found out afterwards that Sonny of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Oh, that's him there, but he was playing against one of my friends. Someone in Sonny's house was playing against this individual in Edison. and they checked their phone, saw I had posted this, said, "You got it," left their Edison deck on the table, and sprinted to the creator area to go get the mat, and they missed it, which means they lost their match too. And the judge came up to this guy and was like, "Did you say something to him?" And he's like, "No, he just ran." I was like, okay, we got to be a little more careful. I can't be causing stampedes or nothing. I didn't think that someone would do some shit like that. But in my defense, he should not have been checking an electronic device in the middle of a round. That is against tournament policy. It's the ultimate time wizard. You know, what are you going to do? Anyway, then afterwards, I played against Vanquish Soul. They shifted me all 3 games. I won anyway. One of the games, they Vidosed me. They like Vidosed Divine Temple. And I was like, what the fuck? And they were like, yeah, huh? And so we finished. And I was like, so I got to ask you, has Vidos been good for you today? And he was like, no, not at all. I'm like, what's the theory? And he's like, well, the idea is we thought that Fire King Snakes was going to be the more popular build of the deck this weekend. And this card is really good against Fire King Snakes. And I went, is it? And he said, no, it isn't. And I said, okay. And then we moved on. It was like, I see how on paper it sounds like it would be good. But he was just like, yeah, no, it wasn't good. It was like, I shouldn't have played it, but it's a fun card. I mean, I can't blame them for that. I also got to sign my first White Lord after this round, and then I signed 7 more White Lords. Like 3 or 4 of them were from the same group of friends, but they were lead was the pre-release boxes were out, and vendors were selling pre-release lead boxes, and people would open them, find a White Lord, and then be like, oh shit, I have to go get MBT to sign this. So I signed more of this than any other card. It was so irritating. After round 6, I'm 5-1. I beat Lab. This was really frustrating. At 5-1, I thought I could do it if I just like locked in, and unfortunately, it just caught up with me. I played this next round against a Voiceless Voice. I think I played it badly, but like it was one of those games where like you feel like the game was in your control, but you're not really sure what you fucked up. And that's how a lot of my Voiceless Voice games go, is because the hidden information in that matchup is so game determinative that sometimes I'm like, I can play around this thing if they have it, and if they have a different thing, I lose, right? And I don't know. I just I did lose to it. My opponent was playing without a mat, by the way. Halfway through the round, the guy next to me is like, "Do you need a mat?" And he was like, "No, I'm good." And listen, when someone like shows up, I was talking about this with Jordan afterwards, but when someone shows up with the like 1998 Magic World Champ Spellground, with the calc case, with the broccoli deck box, at this point, I'm like, this is a fraud. This person is fraudulent. They are trying to look like a 2008 pro, but they are 100% fraudulent. And usually it's a free win. But if someone shows up with no mat or is talking to their friend while the game is going on, they are about to fuck me up. And when this guy just didn't set out a mat, I was like, oh no. Oh no, I'm cooked. It's over. And he did. He cooked me. Anyway, so and then the X3 match, I literally played the sloppiest I have ever played this deck. I was just making it was the mirror. I made all these mistakes. I think I punted a very one game. And at the end, my opponent's like, what? I was like, man, sometimes you play like ass and you lose the game because of it. And my opponent's like, what mistake did you make? And I was like, I don't really want to get into it. But like the weirdest mistake I made, there were a lot of like small mistakes I made, but the really weird one was knowing my opponent was going to combo on the crackback. I was looking at a hand of Bonfire and Nibiru, and I'd already activated a Bonfire this turn, and I activated a Jet, Synchron, and Graveyard and pitched the Nibiru. And then later in the turn, I made Formula and drew a second Bonfire. And I remember thinking to myself, I was like, why did I pitch Nibiru there? Like, I was supposed to pitch Bonfire 100 times out of 100, but I was just playing really sloppy. It was just not working. It was one of those late rounds that you get you just get kind of in your head, and you haven't eaten well. One of the number one thing I need to work at these events is my stamina. Like, very, very shocking how hard it is. Like, I've gotten away with it for a long time by playing decks that are kind of brainless. Like, you play a deck like, no, I love Hero, but you play a deck like like 2016 Dark Law, and it's like, oh cool, Toad Dark Law, break it. You know, you're just doing a little puzzle. If you play a deck like Snake Eye, you're like making decisions the entire time, and you know, after 9 rounds, that takes a lot out of you. So you know, it was what it was, and I played out the last round for fun. My opponent was in a much better position at top than me, so I should have just scooped to him on the spot, but I was like, no, I'm gonna play it, and I did get wiped. But so 5-1 to 5-4, you know, wheels fell all the way off. But one thing that really fucked me up was my last round was in the VIP section, right? And so I'm playing against my opponent, and we're siding for game 2, and all of a sudden, I smell like this insanely rank scent. And I look over, and a guy's like walking past us, and I'm just like, what is that? And it gets so bad, I like cough a little, and my opponent is like doing this, and like he walks past us, and I go, did that guy just crop duster us? And the guy goes, that exact same sentence popped into my head. That exact same sentence as you were saying it. I was like, I think that guy just crop dustered us. And we were just like, I mean, what are we going to do? We were just like, oh, okay, I guess we'll keep playing. And we played it out. But that second game, we were both like our eyes were watering for a little bit first. What's that? It's when, while you are walking by people, you let out a rank-ass fart.
I didn't know there was a name for that.
Yeah, it's, did you jump him when he left the bathroom? No, I mean, I can't be too mad, because this was in the VIP section. It was right by the bathroom. So maybe he was on his way to the bathroom, and just a little bit came out, you know? Ugh. No, ugh. And then, so, you know, I felt pretty bad about that. I felt like I was in a position to actually clear, and then just didn't. Like, it just couldn't convert. But I wasn't super confident with my play coming into this event. You know, I felt that I needed, like, another week in the tank on this deck. And then when I got the Challenger Cup top, and then the ban list released the next day, I'm going to be honest, all of my fucking motivation went out the window. I was like, I don't feel like I have anything to prove. And I don't want to have to metagame for a new ban list in a week. Like, I got shit to do. Like, I hate to be like this, but being in a group, I very recently have been in a group of people who are like dedicated and really good at the game. And it has been shocking to me just how much top players prepare. Like, when the ban list came out, I think like, I know like 5 or 6 top players that literally just dropped everything and cut like 4 20-hour days of just testing. And like, I get that. That's not something that I can do, right? I have like a wife and a job in quotes, but you know, that's not something I can monetize. So it is a little irritating to be like, okay, well, the ban list dropped in such a way that I'm only going to have like 5 hours max to test for this event. And I did test for those 5 hours, but it is what it is. I need a lot of heads up before an event. In general, I'm really disappointed in just how they handled this ban list, but I am glad that people were able to come to understandings about what would be good about the decks that already existed by the time the event rolled around. That was good. Did you just play Synchro Snakes for Raleigh? Yeah, I just pivoted to the version that was closest to what I was already playing. But no, yeah, the useless ban list. Oh, I don't believe that at all. I think that the this ban list, if this ban list had come out 2 weeks earlier, I think you would have seen a totally different swath of decks in the top cut than you did. I think that like the reason the decks so resemble the decks from the previous format is because people were like, okay, I'm not learning X for this event. Like, I think Voiceless Voice was unbelievably overrepresented in Swiss rounds. I think that Synchro Snakes was way overrepresented in Swiss rounds. I think if you gave it another week, things would have been different. And also, like, why do we have a new ban list 1 week before the new set release? It's so strange. But you know, I don't want this to come off like John's. You know, if there was a ban list or if there wasn't a ban list, that doesn't necessarily mean I would have done well. I was disappointed in my own play. I could have done a lot better for sure. And I'm irritated that, like, if I was going to put up a finish that didn't even make day 2, I should have just fucking played Hero. You know, I should have at least memed a little bit now that Malicious is back. But, you know, for me, I think these YCSs have become, like, the reason I was so able to focus at the Latin American YCS was because there just was a less of an English speaking population that was like familiar with my shit, and as a result, like between rounds I could like go zen and shit. But like the American YCSs, they are kind of meet and greets, and I'm completely fine with that. I think it's nice to go somewhere and hang out with the community rather than go somewhere and be like, I'm gonna have to make it out of. I gotta make it out of day one if I'm gonna prove myself. So. What's stopping you from going zen and shit at the US ones though? Well, the second I get out of a round, people are like, "Can you take pictures with me and sign shit?" Until the next round goes up. Is what happens. And again, if anyone did that at this event, that's fine. That's what the events are for. I welcome that kind of stuff. I am very appreciative that there are so many people who are so interested in my shit that they will do that. Wear a wig? That's true. Did you at the end of the day, did you have a good day? I did. I had a great day. However, I did not have a great day the next day. So after the YCS, I go to Sonny's Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh's house, and he is hosting the first ever Illustrals IRL event. We've got 8 people together for an Illustrals event, and everyone had real decks. I was surprised, and we played a 3-rounder. And I was like, I'm glad to be here for the Get Josh a Trophy event. Unsurprisingly, Josh, aka Bean Soldier TV, won. He's like a top 2 Illustrals player in the world. And he beat me on a bad matchup. It was really frustrating. It was like I was massively favored, and he just like cleaned my dick. But I did get second place, and so Josh got a big trophy. I got the smaller trophy where the hood broke off of the little Vol Tempest here, but I'll take it. What tier do you think Josh is? I think Josh is S tier. I think Distant Coder is unranked, but there's a lot of really big talent in the Illustral space. All 3 of the Illustronauts are really good. I think History is really good. There's like a number of like really powerful unknowns that just I think are going to make their debut as Illustrals gets bigger. But I was happy to be a part of this event. It was great. It was a lot of fun. And the next day I woke up and I was planning on doing a 3v3 with Leah Asimov and Peeps. And unfortunately, I did not do that. Now, why did I not do that? Well, I woke up at 8:30 and I had like a headache. And it was one of those headaches that I was pretty sure I just hadn't had enough sleep. So I went over to Leah and I was like, "Leah, do you want to do this?" And she's like, "I think I need to rest some more." And I was like, "Great, that's fine." So I'll go back to sleep. At 11, I wake back up. We've missed the 3v3, and I'm like, "Okay, I'll just go to the event center and we'll do some more meet and greet." And then I realized that we had a problem, and I walked to the bathroom, and the problem presents itself immediately, and I vomit everywhere. And I go, "What's going on?" And I walk into the kitchen and I'm like, "Huh?" Peeps has made us these delicious breakfast burritos, and I'm like, maybe it's like I need to get some food down. So I take a couple bites of the burrito and I'm like, "Oh, that's not happening." And it comes back up. And I'm like, maybe I just need to go back to bed. So I go back to bed. I wake up at about 12:30 and I'm feeling way worse. And I'm like, that's not good. I go to try and I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, the brat diet is bananas, rice, apple sauce, and toast. And I'm like, well, I don't have any of that, but I have an apple. We don't have apple sauce, but I have an apple. So I try for an apple. That doesn't take. I find I can do little bites of the apple, and then I try for a big bite of the apple, and it all comes back up. It all comes back up. And I go, oh, no. I realize, yeah, there's a reason it's applesauce and not the apple. That I learned, and so I went back. Here's what I thought. I thought I felt so much more sick between 11 and 12. In an hour, everything could change back to normal. So I went back to bed. I woke up at 1:30. At this time, the dream of going to the venue is almost dead, and I'm like, fuck it. I try some blueberries. They don't stay down. And finally, Danny is like, let me go get you some bananas. And he does. And at about 5 p.m., I get a half of one banana down and it stays. And we're like, yay. And I go back to bed. I come back. I go back to bed. Noah Jank comes over to our house. And I go back to bed and I wake back up and I go, fuck you, you stinky ass doo-doo head. And by about 10 p.m., I'm back. And I'm like, okay, I'm alive again. But unfortunately, I've missed the entire day. We were going to hang out with like Alex, and I didn't get to see Alex really at all. But they were feeling bad too. Alex and his wife came, and they were also feeling bad. So I pretty much did nothing on Sunday. And then Monday, I woke up and drove home. I don't know what happened. I'm pretty sure that it was food poisoning, which is irritating because I did all the things that I should do to prevent myself from getting con crud. I'm like almost 100% sure that it was food poisoning. Me and Half Miss, who was a delight to hang out with, and Peeps and Leah and Danny all went to an Italian place together. And I ordered something different from everyone else, and I'm pretty sure it was like microwaved. It had been sitting out, but it was still really good. You get shitting out of my doo-doo ass disease very often, dude. You should fix your diet. This wasn't shitting out of my doo-doo ass disease, and also like this was food poisoning. You know, there's just no counter to food poisoning. You just get it. The crop dusting might have done it. Ooh, could have been. Food poisoning is not that common. Yeah, I haven't gotten it in a while. Olive Garden, true. Food poisoning usually presents days after what you ate was bad, though. Oh, then it might not have been the Italian place. I did eat some... Oh, you shouldn't have said that. Because on Friday, I did eat some really sketchy fast food. Oh, yeah, that. Arby's? No, it was like... It was like 11 p.m. at closing Burger King, and it was the Impossible Whopper, which I know they just have lying around. And I waited an hour to eat it because I didn't want to eat it in the car. I should have microwaved it at least. No shit, you got food poisoning. You went at food poisoning o'clock. Okay, well. Bro ate the nasty patty. Yeah, well. It's not like the meat went bad. That's what I was thinking, though. I was like, well, it can't have gone bad. That chatter is full of shit. Food poisoning can start presenting as early as 30 minutes. Okay, then it was the Italian. One of those two places, though. Anyway, I had a good time at the YCS for the day that I got to attend it, and I had a good time at the Alestrals event, and everyone was very kind, and I was so happy to see everyone. It was so great. I meme about it, but this type of shit, the like Ram Ranch shirt, that shit was so funny. I thought it was great. And the U2's plush did get to a good home. Ugh.